October was a good month for the football club. It was the perfect recovery after only picking up 2 wins out of 6 in September, with those 2 wins only coming in cup games. Chelsea ended October with 4 wins out of 5, only stumbling against Sunderland. Players are now slowly regaining fitness. Players are coming back from injury and new signings are starting to find their form. So why does it feel like old wounds may have resurfaced for the football club? My friends, I'm here to give you guys the recap of everything that went down in October. So let's take it back to the start of the month with Chelsea's massive game against Liverpool. That was the first real test of the season, Chelsea versus the champions. We had to remember the spirit that we had a few months ago when claiming 3 goals against them at Stamford Bridge. The fans knew the assignment, the manager did, the players did. It was time to go. From the opening minutes, Chelsea's mentality was fearless. Alejandro Garnacho was inspired throughout the game, terrorizing Bradley inside and out, forcing fouls for fun. But the man, the myth, the legend to step up and make it count when it mattered was Moisés Caicedo, who announced himself as the player of midfield in the entire league. In the 17th minute, he receives outside the box, but then he does something that surprises the whole stadium. He rolls his studs over the ball to set his shot up and to set Van Dijk up for some of the most merciless memes of this new season. Before lashing a statement, "I am the best midfield player in this damn country," with his pile driver going top bins. It was a Hollywood goal for a Hollywood player. The game was officially on. Liverpool, still wounded by tactical inconsistencies, still have that individual quality to turn a game around at any time, and Salah's Modric-inspired outside-the-boot pass was set to fall down to Isaac to bury, but then he misses. Was this set to be the day for Chelsea? Slot, though, had seen enough, and the first expensive buy of the season was tasked with changing the game for Liverpool in the second half, so it was no surprise to see Cody Gakpo stealing the honours and levelling the game to make it 1-1. Chelsea played too well for this result to feel fair. There had to be a winner in this game. It wasn't going to end like this, was it? That's what it felt like, because during the game it felt like luck was starting to run out for us. Maresca lost his centre-back pairing for this month in both Benoit and Achampong in the same half. Chelsea, with a mini injury crisis of their own, had nothing but youth on the bench to turn to, but Maresca did something that shocked all of us. He embraced the youth talent, he emboldened them, and he told them go out and win the game. Chelsea fielded 5 under-21-year-olds to go out and get the job done, and it was Estevão Willian who took this opportunity with both hands. His in-swinging crosses were dangerous, his dribbles scared the life out of Liverpool's defence. Estevão had thought he had done it when his in-swinger found Enzo Fernandez, but Enzo's header clattered off the post. Time was running out, but everyone in that stadium sensed there was one moment left in this game, and that moment fell in the 95th minute. Inspired play down the left-hand side releases Cucurella, whose cutback cross finds the unmarked, energetic Estevão, who steers it in from the far side. It was a moment of limbs, pure ecstasy, and Enzo Maresca finally getting accepted by the Chelsea fans as he gives his best Mourinho touchline run impression. Chelsea had finally secured a last-minute winner under Maresca, and Estevão Willian had announced himself to the Premier League. September could quickly be forgotten now because October was starting in incredible fashion. After last weekend's scenes at Stamford Bridge, Chelsea were tasked with travelling to the City ground to take on Nottingham Forest. But this game will forever be remembered as the game that Chelsea got Postecoglou sacked. And maybe that's for good reason, because there was something ominous in this game that no one wanted to talk about. But to start with things, the surprise lineup inclusion of the game went down to George Achampong, who was entrusted in defence, which surprised all of us. Forest, or Postecoglou, had everything to play for. There was a job to save on the line. This was going to be an interesting game, and Postecoglou made sure he was going to make things very hard for us by surprising Enzo Maresca by introducing a 5-3-2 tactic for the first time this season. This resulted in a very cagey first half, where Chelsea were unable to influence much outside of one incredible moment for Andrey Santos, which came courtesy of João Pedro's improvised Joga Bonito play at the halfway line, creating space before playing an inviting ball over the top to catch Andrey Santos, but his finishing let him down. After seeing the errors though with his first half lineup, Maresca wasted no time in changing this game around, as he introduced the triple threat of Caicedo, Gittens and Marc Guiu on the field. Guiu had finally got his big moment to announce himself, and announce himself he did, because Chelsea started that second half with an absolute new leash of life. We wasted no time in inserting this new energy, as Pedro Neto accelerates down the left-hand side, beating his man, then plays an inch perfect cross on the run to find the unmarked Achampong, whose towering header secures his first ever career goal for the football club. Cobham grads continue their record of scoring for the football club, and 3 minutes later, Neto turns creator into scorer, with Reece James revealing after that they worked out that Forest had a bit of a free kick flaw. His layoff was intentional to Neto because this created the space to push his outs to one side, which meant that Neto obliged to shoot down the other end. That split-second space that was created was the difference, and it goes to show how fine the margins and details are at the highest level. Forest, though, still kept continuing, and once Hudson-Odoi was introduced on the field, they created all types of issues down that left-hand side. And if not for some awful finishing from Forest, Chelsea's defense was getting cooked at times. It took until the 84th minute for Chelsea's captain Reece James to continue his scoring streak against Nottingham Forest as he takes control and hammers in his effort from the centre box. Chelsea left with 3 vital away points and Forest left without their manager. But there was one thing that no one wanted to talk about, and that was the fact that Chelsea ended the game with 3 goals, but statistically, Forest should have won the game based off their 2.35 expected goals to our 1.67. Was this game an omen of things to come for Chelsea's defence in October? After tasting a reality-hitting defeat to Bayern Munich in the Champions League, Chelsea's competition return could finally begin at home as we took on Ajax. And it took until the 17th minute for Ajax to get rolled up and packed up before getting smoked away, with Kenneth Taylor killing any Ajax hope after getting sent off. Chelsea literally scored from that free kick after the sending off, with Marc Guiu making history at the time, becoming our youngest scorer in the CL. Moisés Caicedo continued his scoring streak this season with this deflected effort rolling in the net. This is when the comedy show then started to begin. Tosin exposed Chelsea's poor discipline yet again as he brought down the Ajax man to give Weghorst the chance from the pen spot, and he didn't waste the opportunity. But Weghorst then decided to become the real clown of the show, and in ironic fashion went from pen scorer to pen conceder, resulting in Enzo Fernandez's first goal in the competition. Thankfully, the clown show was not the center stage of the performance. What was at the center stage was Chelsea's youth talent, and the stars of that show went down to Jamie Gittens and Estevão Willian, who are forming an exciting winger partnership down either flank. Records were getting broken for fun against Ajax, as Estevão wins a pen with trickery, with big bro Enzo giving little bro Estevão the chance to write his first ever Champions League chapter. Estevão steps up from the pen spot and expertly side-foots his pen into making history. 4-0 up against 10 men in the first half. Could Chelsea continue the violation in the second half? Well, it was starting to look like that when instantly in the 48th minute, Tyreek George makes it 5-0 and also gets his first CL goal, continuing a record of scoring in every competition for Chelsea, and reminding everyone that maybe selling him to Fulham wasn't in our best interest. Once the 5th goal went in, Chelsea took things off the gas a little bit because they knew there were stunner tests to come in the next few weeks, and I guess it would be a bit too greedy to expect more than 5 goals. Chelsea packed Ajax 5-1, made history, and if there was ever a game to prove the club's youth model direction, there isn't a better example than our performance against Ajax. With 3 wins on the bounce, and after coming from the back of a 5-1 win in the Champions League, Chelsea's next opponents were Sunderland. And if there was a game to showcase some of our flaws, it probably was against Sunderland. But at the time though, we never saw this issue coming, because from the 4th minute, the vibes were still strong, with Garnacho adding to this month's tally of new names getting on the score sheet as he lashes onto a through ball, running towards goal, and he hits his shot early with his left foot under the goalkeeper. Scoring this early against a team using a surprise 5 at the back system. Let's go. Surely we're not going to let this game slip, right? Surely we ain't going to do that. Well, Sunderland took the hit like men, but continued about their business like they knew this was always part of the plan. And they had to wait until the 22nd minute as the inspired Isidore converted unmarked after Chelsea's critical weakness, the long throw OP. Sunderland ended the half doubling Chelsea's expected goal threat, and Sunderland's work rate had to be admired as well as their tactical discipline. But the same old question marks resurfaced surrounding Chelsea's inability at creating any consistent threat against teams that stood up using 5 at the back. Chelsea got more desperate but had no real punch, so it was fitting that Chelsea's performance got themselves sucker punch, because right near the end of the game, as it seemed like it was destined to be 1 point each, one long ball completely turned this game upside down. Robbie then pins Tosin, who doesn't really do enough to force a striker wide. Chalobah supports with threat management, yet the real player to pick up steals the game in the 93rd minute as Tabley runs unmarked and effortlessly curls a shot past Robert Sanchez. From control to despair. Chelsea let slip a game yet again, yet the worrying thing was the repeated containment phase from any teams that use 5 at the back. After all these months, Maresca still hasn't shown that he has the blueprint to counter this type of team. To do, and Maresca said after the game that once he found out Sunderland's approach, he told the team 10 minutes before kickoff, forget everything that we trained upon, you guys, you're on your own. So the real lesson and question learned after that defeat was Maresca would have to make Chelsea a bit less predictable if we have any real chance to secure this season's big objectives. And this took us to our final game of October as we had Carabao Cup duties. Now, there were some scary warning signs happening in the last few games in terms of Chelsea's inability to deal with long throws, balls over the top from counter-attacks, and inability to beat packed defenses. With Halloween approaching, surely Chelsea weren't going to allow this month to end in scary fashion against Wolves. That couldn't be the focus, as the Carabao Cup presents a real opportunity. Beat Wolves, and you're only 3 games away from booking a final spot. And I think with Maresca tasting silverware this summer, I think the guy is pretty addicted to securing more. So the game versus Wolves was the perfect opportunity to bounce back, and bounce back doesn't even do justice to that first half that we saw from Chelsea, with Andrey Santos opening the accounts after Gittens' assist from the right hand side. Wolves fans then began to sing to their own manager, "You're getting sacked in the morning." Chelsea took that personally, looking to add to their streak of getting managers sacked this month, and after an inspired back to front team move with Romeo Lavia playing the delicious line-breaking pass to kickstart that attack. It resulted in a flowing move in which Tyree George got on the end of another Jamie Gittens assist to put Chelsea 2-0 up. From that point forwards, Wolves looked completely out of it, but salt was still left to be added to wounds when another self-inflicted mistake of the season for Wolves, who just cannot play out from the back without creating mistakes, allowed Andrey Santos to do his best Conor Gallagher impression, counter-pressing to win the ball back, releasing Estevão for Estevão to produce a cheeky, confidence-showing chipped finish over the unrushing keeper, and Chelsea's Lions roared to a first-half demolition, but Wolves were proof they still had bite left in that second half. And yet again, another counter-attack goal was taken advantage of, expertly finished by Arakadari. Wolves had nothing left but pack pride from that moment. Maresca, sensing what was to come, brought on the big experienced boys to try and seal this game. And in the second half, we finally saw Liam Delap returning to the football pitch. But it wasn't for too long, because within the space of 7 minutes, Delap decided it was time to scrap and not time to kick ball, as he gets himself sent off and Red Card FC continues to live on.
The show goes on!
The game had flipped. Wolves went from 1 big chance in the first half to 3 against our 1 in the second half. And it was the combined danger of Strand Larsen who was single-handedly reminding the fan base why maybe having a superior aerial threat could have been useful for Chelsea's defense, and naturally, yet again, conceding another goal from long throw OP. From 3-0 to 3-2, and no chances in the second half, it was looking dark for Chelsea. Until Chelsea's bright light of the entire game, and Jamie Gittens, a man who single-handedly created the scoreline for Chelsea, decided he had to activate hero mode, bro, and he shocked the Molyneux with his out from absolutely nowhere, Papa Cisse inspired, speculative laces effort at the near post that went into the goal. What a moment, what a goal. However, that moment nearly got spoiled because Wolves decided, we know that Chelsea are weak from long throws and balls over the top, but let's now test kickoff glitch against them. Yet again, it was Wolves scorer and Wolves who made things very dangerous for Chelsea, as he was unmarked again at the far post. At the time, with the clock ticking down, Chelsea's best defender was timed from that moment, and Wolves had no answer to it. On one hand, there were some real encouraging signs in this game, seeing Gittens and many youth players announcing themselves. On the other hand, Chelsea are still super effective against counter-attacks, long throws and aerials, but Maresca changing his backline every single game this month. Does Chelsea's defense have the quality to match our lofty ambitions? If Chelsea were playing drunk stunk in September, we most definitely sobered up in October. Securing 4 out of 5 wins, especially in all competitions, was really promising. The most promising sign being that we're seeing young talents and new signings announcing themselves with goals and assists. We've been waiting for this moment because from this point forward, as we get closer to the dreaded Christmas time period, we are going to need every single player in this squad to be in their top game and their top form to help us get through. And I think this is where October was the most encouraging signs that Chelsea might surprise us and could be prepared for this difficult period. On the other hand, we need to show improvements when it comes to being susceptible against 5 at the back teams, long throws, as well as balls over the top. And I think the best way to do that is to control the game a bit more by getting that 2-goal advantage. Most times we get that, we tend to secure the game. Things are looking bright though. Players are returning back, fitness is finding players again, and we're set to take on Tottenham for the start of November. Hopefully we continue things in a similar fashion to the start of October where we beat Liverpool, but something tells me that we're guaranteed to get the 3 points against our favorite whipping boys in Tottenham. As funny thing is, as they've only beaten us 8 times in Premier League history. So my friends, that's everything that went down in October. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I've been experimenting with a lot of videos this season. I was doing the story of the game, but I realized very quickly it's impossible to have that production out for every single game. So why not do like a monthly recap so we can kind of relive all the glory moments of the month, what we learned and what we have to look forward to. So hope you guys enjoy the video, show us some love, and I'll see you guys again on Blue Lions TV. Cool.